And now it's time for another St. Louis 7 following an episode on OT with Oliver. This guest following Steve Savard had a ball. Talked about growing up in St. Louis. Talked about your long career at KMOV. Talked about your career in the NFL. Touched base on a bunch of stuff. Hope you had fun.
I did. It would be more accurate to call it a stint in the NFL. I joke and say it was a cup of coffee, and it wasn't long enough for me to know it was decaf or regular, but, it is what it is.
Starting St. Louis 7, we ask everybody a variation of the following question. Where'd you go to high school, and what do you remember? You had a fun time at Parkway North.
Had a great time. Had an absolute ball. Great friends, lifelong friends, great teachers. My goodness, especially back in I think about my English department teachers with Gene Eichhorn and Tom Whaling and Larry Mosseri, and French teacher Mark Williams, and then coaches Bob Robin in baseball, and Denny Staub, who has been a lifelong influence on me. We're still close. I love Coach to death, my high school football coach.
When the Rams beat the Buccaneers to make the Super Bowl, where do you go to celebrate?
I go home and pack. First of all, I go back to the station because we have an hour-long broadcast to do that night. And then I go home at about 1 o'clock in the morning, pack for a 6-hour flight, for a 6 a.m. flight to Atlanta. So a lot of people had fun that night. I did. I just had fun in a different way while working, with an eye to what I had to do the following week, which was pretty important, document Super Bowl 34.
What do you miss most about the Rams not being in town?
I just think the camaraderie with the broadcast, the excitement on Sundays before kickoff, and then I miss the brotherhood with other broadcasters, particularly the guys in the NFC West. You become very good friends, and you can't wait to see those guys because in the NFC West you see them twice a year. There are a lot of great guys calling NFL games, and so I think it's not all together different. What you miss about playing is that you miss kind of the camaraderie and the brotherhood you form.
When you go to Ted Drew's, what do you order?
I don't go to Ted Drew's very often. I know this is kind of strange. We get it at work all the time. I just get a vanilla concrete. I'm a vanilla guy. I like good vanilla. So anytime I get a chance to get it from work when we have an event, when we're celebrating anything, they get Ted Drew's. It's outstanding. It's delicious. So I would just say the vanilla concrete is all I need.
Steve, I'm looking at you. You're in too good a shape.
Well, I don't know about that, but I've had. I will tell you this, David. I've had 8 orthopedic surgeries, 7 of which have come since 2014. So there's a lot of wear and tear in this body, and I try to take care of it because otherwise, I think I might fall apart here.
You encounter 10 stop signs. How many do you roll?
Oh man, probably. Depending on the environment, depending on who's around and not around, I would probably roll 3 to 4. Not completely roll, but not completely come to a stop. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. It's a St. Louis thing.
Is it?
That's what they claim.
Really? I mean, yeah. I'm probably guilty of 30 to 40% of them.
People come and visit you in St. Louis. Where do you take them?
Well, I would take them to, depending on what they want to do, I might take them to play golf. I would love to take them to a Blues game, particularly if there are a lot of people who don't know a lot about hockey. I would go over to Charlie Gito's Pasta House on 6th Street. Charlie, we just lost him, unfortunately. He was a friend and so generous to me for 25, 26 years. That it's an incredible loss for me in St. Louis, but I will continue to go back and I've had a lot of good memories, good evenings at Charlie Gito's Pasta House on 6th Street.
So again, if you want to check out Steve's podcast, it's OT with Oliver, wherever you get your podcast. If you like this St. Louis 7, you might want to check out other St. Louis 7s we've had on YouTube. Just hit the subscribe button and we'll give you an update as the new ones are coming down the pike. For the last question, you are board of directors at Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. We talked a little bit about it during the podcast, but let's plug away, man.
Well, you see the hat here. It's just I have an affinity for the men and women who serve in uniform. My dad was a greatest generation veteran, albeit he served during the Korean conflict, did not see combat action. And because of that, my dad had inordinate respect for the men who did, of his generation, the men who served in World War II and Korea. Every veteran of every era is worthy of being honored with honor flight. But I grew up in a family where it was mandatory that we understood what the greatest generation did for not just the United States, but for the world at a time when they needed valor and heroic action. I was the kid that understood when I was 6 years old that the Battle of the Bulge was fought in the Ardennes Forest of Belgium. It was the last major German offensive of World War II. I knew what the Chosin Reservoir, I knew some of the specifics of the Chosin Reservoir battle in Korea when I was 7 years old. I grew up in a family where it was mandatory, and I've carried it my whole life. I have great respect for the men and women that put country first in uniform. And if I didn't know a lot about honor flight until 2016 when I went on it to document it. And for the last 4 years, I've had the pleasure of helping serve on the board of directors and doing my part, emceeing some fundraisers. Every veteran or every family member of a veteran that doesn't understand or really know what Greater Honor Flight is or does should research it. Every veteran deserves that day. It will change them forever.
Great stuff, man. Last question. No wrong answer to this. What makes you proud to be a St. Louisan?
Oh man. This is one of those ones where I try not to sound, you don't want to sound corny and staged and everything else. I'll just say it like this. I don't think I'm the guy that can, in the last 26 years, that could have sent a tape anywhere and get a job. Okay. We talked in the podcast a little bit about maybe being, in sports once upon a time when I was lifting heavy, a little bit too Tank McNamara-ish. I don't have the, Brad Pitt perfect. I have a 3 times broken nose. I have teeth that didn't have braces. But I do think there are opportunities I had in the last quarter century where I could have moved on. I never wanted to. When I got back to town, it just felt right being home, even though I wasn't trying to get to St. Louis. And then I had 2 great jobs, whether I was sports director or news anchor. And then I also was calling one of 32 jobs calling NFL play-by-play in my hometown. Where am I going to go? But I never wanted to go anywhere. And so rather than just tell you what I love about St. Louis, the fact that I've never wanted to leave in 26 and a half years. And I would really love to close my television career. Some of that's out of my hands. Don't know. But I love to close my television career at KMOV because it's been a great place for me. And like I told you in the podcast, it was wonderful for my parents to be able to turn on the TV and find their kid 5 nights a week.
Stay good, stay healthy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David.